Welcome back. Elizabeth Bowman joins us. You know, we've been talking about priorities, prioritizing, and I think a lot of that has to do with organization. And as Heather let you know earlier, she makes lists all the time to help her organize and prioritize, or we at least know that she at least makes lists.
I'm doing something.
You are making lists. You know what my favorite list is? It's up in Whistler at the Longhorn Saloon. They have a list of 10 shots. Anyways, that's a whole nother topic. Well, Elizabeth, welcome to our show. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. You know, it's fun to talk about organization, and it really kind of fits the bill here because I feel like a lot of people don't think they have enough time, or they just feel this exorbitant pressure to try to get things done. And a lot of times it's because that stress level happens when you don't even know what it is you're supposed to do. And getting organized, or, you know, as the founder and president of Innovatively Organized, you deliver a lot of seminars, presentations, webinars on really organizing and these productivity-related topics. And so, well, first, so welcome. You know, I'm so glad you could be here and share kind of your insights. You've been working with Cameron over at ITEX for a little while.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about how you got involved with ITEX and how it's worked out for you.
Yeah. So as the owner of a small business, we have 6 employees, Innovatively Organized. We ended up starting to work with ITEX, one, because they have a sales rep that wouldn't leave us alone, saw us at a trade show, which was great. And then we also had a client who's a member. And like Cameron was saying a second ago, sometimes if they work on behalf of a client to go out and find a vendor that will provide that service. And we had a client that was a member and needed help organizing his house. And so Cameron and the sales guy kind of found us, came after us to kind of convince us to join. And I will tell you, it's been fabulous because now we're able to not only help their client organize his house, but then we get to put that money into our ITEX bank. And then we're using a lot of it for marketing materials. So now we can use that ITEX dollars to order new brochures, get new pamphlets, new flyers for all of our presentations and seminars printed. And so it's been a good relationship so far.
And these are really jobs or that you would not have otherwise had. Is that right?
Right. Well, especially the client that we're working with now to organize his house, he didn't have the cash to pay for it because it was a much larger project. And so what he could pay for in cash would have been maybe a closet instead of organizing systematically his entire house, which is what we're essentially doing.
And now you don't have to pay for all the marketing materials with cash.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what exactly does it, what do you mean? What is the service you organize a house?
Yeah. So we actually have 3 main services at Innovatively Organized. We do residential organizing, which is when we go into somebody's house, we're going to organize their closet, kitchen, storage room, bedroom, their mail center. We set up.
I don't even have a mail center.
Exactly, because you didn't know you needed one.
I didn't.
But a mail center
actually
is
do.
great.
It's the recycle bin on the way into the house for the junk mail.
Yep. We see that a lot. And what happens for us is we see lots of stuff enters the house and gets piled on the kitchen counters or the dining room table. And then when you have guests come over, everything kind of gets wiped off the table, put in a bag or a box, and shoved into a closet.
That is true. That is speaking the truth there, Elizabeth.
So we like to look at the flow of stuff in a house and make sure everything is set up, everything is organized, that there's a drop zone for things as soon as you walk in. If you have kids, making sure they all have their own place for the book bags, their shoes, all those permission slips that maybe come home with them from school. But that's what we do on the residential side is we go in and organize your house, set up systems, but we want them to be low maintenance. And we have a 5-step process we use when we're organizing. But then the other 2 services that we provide is we go in and help businesses. And so we help small businesses, medium-sized businesses organize their space. So setting up their desk, their cabinets, their paper files, all of that. But what is even better for most businesses right now is we help with their digital clutter. So we help them with email management, time management, all the stuff that is on the computer out in the digital world. Are
you like an Outlook
I'm an
pro?
Outlook person.
Are you?
Yeah. I'm actually headed after this to go teach an Outlook class.
Really?
Yeah. So we do lots of training and seminars as well.
Outlook is one of those things that can do incredible organizing if you know how to set it up, isn't it?
It can definitely aid you, You have to have a procedure and a process yourself, but you can definitely set it up so it helps you be organized. And the one thing that we help people with is empty their inbox every day. So it's a great thing to make sure that your email inbox is empty. But Outlook is great because it has the calendar all set up. You can share it with other people on your team. You can use the task list, but you can also sync it with other outside to-do lists that are more robust and that are going to sync with your mobile devices and stuff like that.
It rules my life and my iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Outlook, it is a great tool. I have never tried to empty my inbox. I must have 22,000 emails in there.
Yep.
Our IT department is constantly like, your inbox is not for storage, right?
It is not for storage. So the way you want to think about it with your inbox, think about it like the Postal Service. They deliver your mail to the foot of your driveway, right? In that mailbox. Well, you don't leave all your mail there to live and breathe and die someday, but we do that with our email inbox. So instead, you should be receiving your mail in your inbox and sorting it, prioritizing it, like you were talking about all the priorities, prioritizing it, and then making sure that it's stored where it's supposed to be.
Do you recommend deleting things you don't need just immediately when they come in?
Only if it's true spam or clutter. Otherwise, you do want a historical record of what you have.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah. So I'm a bigger fan of archiving stuff than I am deleting it.
Got it.
Yep.
That's a better idea.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to quit hitting that delete button. Okay, so you talked about residential organizing, business organizing. So what's that third one?
Well, the other thing that we do is we actually help with lots of training and with lots of space planning. So we go in, we train, and we work with companies especially to train them with process improvement type things. So we go in, we'll do some software training if we need to, but we'll also do training on their workflow and help make sure that we're helping build their operations manual and getting people talking about the right way to do things, not just doing it the same way for the past 20 years. And then our space planning, we go in and design the space and help figure out your layout. So whether it's your bedroom, making sure that furniture is set up in the right way, and if you're a very visual person, we'll get rid of dressers, because if you have stuff in drawers, you're probably never wearing it. If you're somebody who's more visual, because it's out of sight, out of mind in that drawer. And in an office space, we're going to
tell my wife that we can get rid of so many things.
There you go. So you should have something like an armoire set up where you can open the door and look at all the shelves and see what you have. But in an office space, we pay attention if you're right-handed or left-handed and how things are flowing across your desk and how to set it up. Some people need a filing cabinet. Some people should be completely paperless, and they don't need one. So it just depends.
What do you think some of the biggest mistakes people make right now when it comes to organization in their office?
The biggest mistake is not factoring in the time it takes to be organized. Most people, like what you started off saying, most people end up at the end of their day busy, overwhelmed, feeling like they had 10 more things on their to-do list that they weren't able to get to. And one of those things that probably just rolls from day to day is, oh, I need to organize my office. Well, that is so broad, it's not tangible at that point.
It's like
so
smart goals, right? I mean, you just can't organize your office. It's like, I'm just going to make more money.
Organizing your office is something that could support you making more money. I mean, we have all kinds of clients that actually are more successful because now they're getting the right things done. Because we've not only organized their physical space, but we've organized their time and their calendar.
Do you think that tends to be a huge time waster, is the being unorganized?
Totally. It's a huge time waster. And if you're in sales at all, it's a huge problem with customer retention also, because then you're disorganized. You're not answering emails. You're not returning phone calls. You're not able to get back to the right people. And if you don't have a process to stay in front of people, then it doesn't matter if you're organized or not, because you haven't done the right things with your time. You might be busy during the day. I mean, there's a huge myth, the difference between being busy and being productive, right? Anybody could be busy during the day.
I feel like that is so many people you talk to. They're just so busy. Yep. But then you talk to the people who are actually organized, and there's I use Microsoft as an example because I have friends who work at Microsoft. There are people who are so busy, and literally they're in and out of unproductive meetings all day long. And then I know some other people who work 2 hours a day, get their stuff done, and just leave. And they get their stuff done, they go to the meetings they're supposed to. And it's really interesting the way that in these huge behemoths of companies, people will posture by being really busy, and then some people just go get it done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you can be busy doing all the wrong stuff. You could be busy making lists, but never checking something off on the list, right?
I feel like I've been glanced at twice now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, your lists. Anyways. So that's kind of the big thing. I mean, it's just trying to get it. How does somebody just get organized? I mean, you say, don't leave that for the end of the day, organize my office. But so how does somebody go about getting organized if it's not the appropriate thing to just put on a list?
Yeah, well, first, call an organizer if you need one. We have a whole team of them. But really, when it comes to a physical space, we have, our 5-step process that we use where we start off by sorting everything that you have into categories, purging out what's not necessary. Then we kind of create a map of different zones. So that way you know where things should belong. And then what we tend to do fourth is we then go purchase any products or furniture, pieces that are going to help support your organizational goals. That's the number one thing people do out of order. Most people think they need to organize a space. They run out to the store and buy baskets and bins.
That they'll need.
Exactly.
More places to just put stuff.
Yep. Or they just see something while they're at the store. They haven't even thought they need to get organized, but they like the color of the bin or the shape of the bin, so they're going to bring it home and use it for something, which just makes the clutter worse. And so we wait in the process to do that until we know exactly the measurement we need and the size we need and stuff like that. And then what our 5th step is that we go in and set up a maintenance plan. So we've not only gotten them organized the first time, but we've set it up so it's easy to maintain, and they don't really need us anymore after that. With your time, however, it's a little bit different because organizing a to-do list is a little bit different than organizing a physical space. So organizing your to-do list actually takes a lot more effort for most people because you not only need to make sure you're writing everything down on a list, but then we have people go back and put time estimates on everything. So that way they know how long everything on their list is going to take. And what's been fascinating for us is working with different business owners or different even individuals, having them write down everything on their list and then put time estimates next to it. And then they might show me a list and say, this is everything I'm going to get done in Tuesday. And what tends to happen is if we total up all the time, they just put about 25 to 40 hours worth of stuff on their list. And there's no wonder they're leaving at night without getting it all done. So, you really have to be careful when you're making your to-do list to put time estimates and actually match it with your calendar, be very realistic about what's going to fit and what's not going to fit. Those people, like you mentioned, that are leaving in 2 hours, it's probably because they have a much more realistic list and they've gotten rid of the clutter. They've gotten rid of the things that are just unimportant to get done.
Well, here with Elizabeth Bowman, president and founder of Innovatively Organized, and I know we just have a couple minutes left. You talked about purging and just getting rid of stuff. Is that, we've talked about the epidemic of hoarding on this show.
Oh,
Do people hoard their business stuff and they just can't let go of that piece of paper or that marketing thing that they may someday use? Yep. And they just can't. It's that same, I may need this someday.
Yeah, and I will tell you, not only are they holding on to stuff because they might need it someday, they're holding on to it because they're not sure if they're legally allowed to get rid of it. So for business documents, most people, it's more fear that's causing them to hold on to stuff. With residential stuff, people are holding on to it because it's a memory. It's a memorabilia item. They're sentimental about it.
I remember that trip to Palm Springs in '86 when I got that shot glass.
Yep. But with businesses, if you've been in business for a while, it gets a little scary for some people to go, okay, well, I know I only have to keep my taxes for 7 years. These are 11 or 12 years old, but they're still like, well, I'm not really sure. And so we can come in and help with all the retention policies of how long things are supposed to be kept and make sure that we have rotations so things actually can rotate out when they need to.
Well, Elizabeth, I know you have to get going. Thanks so much for joining us again. Elizabeth Bowman, president and founder of Innovatively Organized. And it's interesting information. Hope you'll come back sometime.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we have to go to break. When we come back, Heather Moore will join us along with Cameron Johnson. We'll talk a little bit more about business and what people can do to succeed. We'll be right back.